Hello, and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video, we're going to keep looking at Worldwake, and we're going to move on to the white-blue deck, which is Flyover. So let's start looking at this one. So, blue-white skies, basically, is, which is fine. It's a pretty solid archetype to work with, very little risk of anything kind of going wrong with it. There is a small focus on kicker and multi-kicker, but it is super small. But anyway, let's start looking at the cards. So the foil face rare is Archon of Redemption. So 3 and 2 white for 3/4 with flyer. Whenever Archon of Redemption or another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's power. So yeah, this is a good sort of flying creature payoff, I think. 5 mana for a 3/4 flyer is sort of okay with this ability. Yeah, I think basically perfectly fine. Not super exciting, maybe, but it's okay. It's an okay rare to have. We have a single Lightkeeper of Emeria, so 3 and a white for a 2/4 with flying, which is that's all right stats because at this point we're still getting 2/4s for 4 with no abilities, so this is okay for it to be flying. Has multi-kicker for a single white, which means multi-kicker is exactly like kicker, except you can pay it as many times as you want. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life every time it was kicked. So, what, 5 mana, this is a 2/4 flyer that gives you 2 life when it comes in. I guess, sure. I suppose it's alright. Most of the time, I think you would just play this for 4 and just be okay with a fairly decently sized flyer for 4 mana. But yeah, anyway. Again, I think it's okay. I've sort of mentioned in the videos before that I think the cards with multi-kicker on them are just I don't know, just a tiny bit overcosted, but it's good to have options. If you draw it late game, you got the mana, it's fine. We have 2 Apex Hawks, so 2 and a white for a 2/2 flyer, so Windrake, Wild Griffin stats, which is perfectly fine. Has multi-kick for 1 and a white, enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it every time it was kicked. So 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer is, that's not ideal, but again, you've got the option there. I think most of the time this is better just to cast as a 2/2 flyer, which is, boring, but I think that's better than holding on and sort of getting a sort of an overcosted 3/3 flyer a bit later. But again, late game, if you've got the mana open, it's fine. A single Stormfront Pegasus, so it's from M10. Just 1 and 1 white for a 2/1 flyer. Yep, not much to say about it really. A single Voyager Drake. So 3 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer, which is actually really well costed. That's old Phantom Monster stats, which is good, and this is technically better because apart from getting into niche cases like creature type, but it has multi-kicker. Multi-kicker blue, when it enters the battlefield, up to X target creatures get flying till end turn, where X is the number of times Voyager Drake was kicked. So it's a good ability. I suppose you pay 5 mana and get a 3/3 flyer and give one of your other creatures flying till end of turn. Maybe that's okay. Thing is, a lot of the creatures in the deck already have flying, so I'm not sure how useful this ability would actually be. When it comes to it, but the fact that it's just a full 3/3 flyer for 4 is perfectly okay. Single Gomazoa, 2 and a blue for a 0/3 defender and flyer, which is not great stats, but it can tap, put Gomazoa and each creature it's blocking on top of their owner's libraries, then shuffle libraries. So yeah, it can block something and then just permanently get rid of something, just shuffle it back into a library, which is it's an okay ability, but obviously, it does itself as well. So I know, I always think this is just a bit kind of clunky and not wonderful, honestly. Yeah, that's okay. Kind of wish it had a bit more toughness, really, but I think 3 mana is kind of expensive what it does, but a single Enclave Elite, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 with Island Walk, which is okay costed. Has multi-kicker for 1 and a blue, gets +1/+1 counter every time it was kicked. So then, 5 mana for a 3/3 Island Walk, it's okay. I suppose if you're playing against a deck that's using islands, you would actually maybe want to save up for this one and then multi-kick it, so then you've got a bigger unblockable creature, or do you play it earlier and get more swings in with it? I don't know, it's a tough call. 2 core cartographers, 3 and a white for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for planes and put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Doesn't have to be a basic planes, just take note of that. This is, it's fine. It's fine. It's a limited rampant growth on a 2/2, which is fine. Yeah, just perfectly fine, which is kind of how I feel about the whole deck. In case you don't know, it's perfectly fine. A single Surakar Banisher. Oh, I get to talk about Surakar a little bit actually. So 4 and a blue for a 3/3. And when it ends the battlefield, you return a tapped creature to owner's hand, which is, I mean, just let me return a creature. Come on, you're already an expensive mana war. Like, don't put the extra condition in. So the Surakar are weird, right? So this is a case of like where a creature type gets invented for like 4 creatures. I think there's only like 4 or 5 Surakar in like the whole game. And they're just I just don't know. I don't know what the process is of new creature types getting invented for like really niche cases like this. It's not like Surakar tribal is a thing. It's not like there's effects that care about Surakar. It's just super weird. I don't know why this couldn't have been like like lizard or salamander, something like that, something that conveys what they are, because they're kind of like weird frog, salamander, amphibian people. Um, but yeah, they're just like, oh, we'll make up Surakar. The other one that always jumped. This is such a tangent, but in Theros, there's Bronze Sable, and like it has the creature type Sable, and like why make up a whole creature type just for 1 card? It's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. Anyway. A single Silvercoat Lions, this is from M10. It's just 2/2 for 2. Very boring. You would just cut this straight away. Single Divine Verdict, just destroys an attacking or blocking creature for 4. Yeah, perfectly serviceable. And a single Righteousness to give a blocking creature +7/+7 till end turn, which is like a really fun trick, especially at 1 mana. Yeah, this is all fine. These are all M10 cards we've like seen before in other decks. So the other rare of the deck is Marshal's Anthem. So 2 and 2 white. It has multi-kicker. Creature you control get +1/+1, so it's just a good, board-wide Anthem effect. When Marshal's Anthem enters the battlefield, return up to X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of times it was kicked. So what? 6 mana. This is an Anthem and a reanimation spell, which is actually fairly decent, I think. I think the sweet spot here is maybe 6 mana. I think 8 is then too expensive, unless I guess the game goes on that long, and then getting 2 creatures back and a board wide buff is obviously pretty good. I think you'd feel okay just playing this at 4 as well. It's one more than like Glorious Anthem, but if you need to, I think you'd feel fine doing that. Yeah, I think it's an okay card. 2 Guardian Zendikons, so 2 and a white for an aura that goes on a land. The land becomes a 2/6 white wall creature with Defender, and then when the enchanted land is destroyed, it goes back into your hand, which is a shame you don't get to keep the aura, but that's fine, because otherwise you could just keep endlessly chaining them. So you don't lose your land when it dies, which is okay. I was because there's a Zendikon in each color, and the white one is just really disappointing, just because it becomes a wall, and I really wish it had become, I don't know, something like I don't know. This could have been like like a 2/4 vigilance or something, just something a bit more aggressive rather than just So it's still a defensive creature, but able to do something rather than just block. I don't know. That's just me. I think. Overall, I do think these Zendikons are like fine common cards. Single Iona's Judgment, 4 and a white sorcery, exile a creature or enchantment. Yeah, expensive, but kind of pretty much always has a target. And exiling is good as well. So yeah, just kind of expensive removal. It's okay. Single Grack, and a Sleep. Sleep is fine in a deck like this. Taps down opponent's creatures, keeps them out of it for a couple of turns. Yeah, Sleep is fine. And a single unsummon to return creatures back to owner's hand. Yeah. There's still more. A single Veteran's Reflexes. So this is kind of like a cute little trick. 1 white mana. Target creature gets +1/+1 to end turn and untap it. So it's all right, I suppose. Yeah. Untapping a creature at instant speed is always, and giving it a boost as well, is always a welcome little trick. But yeah, this is okay as well. Then a single Everflowing Chalice. So 0 mana. But it's multi-kicker 2. It ends the battlefield with a charge counter on it every time it was kicked. So if you pay 2, it comes with 1 charge counter, and you tap to add 1 to your mana pool for every charge counter on Everflowing Chalice. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a mana rock, I guess. The thing is, by the time you can kind of get a lot of charge counters on it, you don't necessarily maybe need the mana it generates, I suppose. Because say like you can get 3 charge counters on it, but you need 6 mana for that. And if you got 6 mana, do you need do you need something that taps for 3? I don't know. It's okay, I guess. I would have liked it if I don't know. I think a better design for this maybe would have been if this had been, I don't know, if it had come with a charge counter automatically. But then I think it'd be too good. Then it's a 0 mana rock. Ignore me. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. And then a single dread statuary. So it's a land, comes in, gives you can tap to give it one colorless, or you can pay 4 and turn it into a 4/2 creature until end of turn. Which is okay. Gives you gives you another attacker, I guess. Animating lands is always kind of fun. And then single terramorphic expanse, 7 islands, 9 planes. Yep, solid mana base. So it could have been. The thing is, I think it really is using kind of like really the best cards available to it. Worldwake is a very limited card pool, and so like I don't know, White Blue Skies is fine, I suppose. But alternative rares, because like Marshall's Anthem is all right, and the Archon is all right. The Archon is kind of made for this deck, I think. Just to have that flying payoff. But I know alternatives. Celestial Colonnade, I think, would have been really interesting. There is, like, I guess, you could argue a very small theme of animating lands in this deck. You had the Guardian Zendikon. You have Dread Statuary. I would have, imagine I've put Wind Zendikon in here as well as another flyer. Celestial Colonnade, though, is really good. Comes and play tapped, gives you white or blue, and you pay 5 to turn it into a 4/4. With flying and vigilance to end turn, which is really strong. So I think that would have been a great rare and a really good incentive for people to buy this. Goliath Sphinx was I guess a possible as well. It's just a massive flyer. It's just 7 mana for an 8/7 flyer, which is honestly I think kind of boring for a rare because it's just a big flyer. That's all it does. I'd expect this in a core set. But in a what is meant to be what were deemed expert level expansions, or whatever, this is like really boring as a rare. But like I think it could have fit in here, because it's just a big flyer. And Sajiri Merfolk, I would have liked to see these actually. So 1 in the blue for 2/1. As long as you control the planes, it has first strike and lifelink. So 2 mana for 2/1 with first strike and lifelink is a pretty good deal. Just one of these I think would have been okay, and there's definitely I think cards that could have been subbed out for it. But yeah. And also, like I said, Wind Zendikon. But I say I'm trying to limit myself to only doing 3 of these, like what could have been cards, for now. So in summary, perfectly fine, average, middle of the road, C plus. Not doing anything particularly bad. Like the card selection isn't like terrible, but it's not too exciting. It's just White Blue Skies, and yes, at 41 cards, there's not really much they can do with it. I think it's doing an okay job. That's basically what I can say. It is perfectly average, fine. But that's just my thoughts on the deck after looking at. If you got any comments or thoughts or stories, opinions about this deck, put a comment below. Always like reading people's comments. I'll be back next time to look at another Worldwake intro pack. But until then, thanks for watching and listening. Have a great day.